Hey y'all, it's Brandon with Freight VS VEVOR. Now I have had several people ask me which one of these two budget anvils is better, the VEVOR Achaio or the Harbor Freight Doyle. And let's kind of look at the pros and cons of each. Let's go over what they have in common. They are the same weight. They're made out of the same material. They're made in the same foundry in China. And they're right around the same cost. Differences in them are position of the Hardy and Pritchell hole. On the Achaio made by VEVOR, you can see the Pritchell hole is on the horn, and it really makes it difficult to use. Whereas on the Harbor Freight anvil, the Pritchell hole is on the heel, and that makes it usable as a Pritchell hole. Another difference in the two is the condition when you get them. When I got these anvils, they both required to be the edges to be dressed, but the VEVOR was a lot more rough. The horn had to be slicked down. It was left in a rough cast condition. I had to smooth it down. Whereas the Doyle came, I had to dress the edges, but the horn was good to go. I didn't have to do very much to it. I did, slicked it up a little, but it was almost in this shape. So it's another point for the Harbor Freight. Another problem with the VEVOR was the Hardy hole. I had to get after it with a finger sander and a die grinder and really work on it to get it to be an actual 3/4 Hardy. The Doyle Harbor Freight one, I just dressed around the edges with a finger sander, and I was dropping 3/4 Hardys in there, no problem. So that's another fit and finish problem that the VEVOR had. Now, while the shapes are basically the same, the Achaio by VEVOR comes to a sharper point on the heel of the anvil, the second horn. I'm used to using a square-heeled anvil, so honestly, I like the Doyle a little better, but that's personal preference. So while that's a difference, it really doesn't make a difference to me. It might to you. Now, another difference is the VEVOR Achaio anvil, I believe, can only be ordered online. So you cannot touch it before you buy it, which most people, that is not a problem. You just order it, it comes straight to your door. I like to touch things before I buy them, so I like that about the Doyle from Harbor Freight, that you can actually touch it. And some people have said that they found some plug welds on the faces of them. Mine doesn't have that. And honestly, I don't think that would affect the anvil at all. But, you can look for that because you can physically go to Harbor Freight and pick that up. So I don't really think there's an advantage or a disadvantage to those. That's just a difference in them. Now, a lot of people have pointed out that the Achaio has holes to bolt it down, and the Doyle anvil does not. That makes no difference to me for two reasons. Reason number one, I'm not really used to anvils having holes in them to bolt them down to begin with. Peterites, hay buttons, Trentons, Colchois, most anvils don't have holes in them to bolt them down. You just, you chain them down or make brackets, or there's a million ways to attach an anvil to its base. So I don't understand that being a turnoff for an anvil, not having hold downs. The only anvils really that pops to mind immediately is Fisher anvils have bolt holes. But that brings me to reason number two. These bolt holes aren't even very good at hold downs. They're just in the position they're in because one's directly underneath the Pritchell hole and one is directly underneath the Hardy hole. But it's not going to be possible to get like a 1/2 inch or 5/8, however big the hole is, bolt in there. I had to cut washers to get them to fit in here, and then use an open-ended wrench and turn it a 1/4 turn at a time. They're not they're not in a super good position. The bolt holes on a Fisher like come out, so you can actually easily bolt them down. So that's why this is a non-issue for me. Between the two, for the reasons that I named, I would go with the Doyle. Now, I do understand they're not as easy to find right now. Like, they're not in stock everywhere. So, for that reason, you might go with the VEVOR. And that's fine. Honestly, I don't think a new blacksmith is going to be able to tell the difference between the two. But if you can hold out, I'd get the Doyle. It's I don't know. I like it better. So, for everybody that keeps asking me, there's your answer. What's funny about this is VEVOR sent me that anvil for free. They contacted me and asked me if I wanted to test their anvil. And even though it was free, and they might send me some more stuff, I don't like it as good as I like the one I bought. So, I don't know. It's as honest of an opinion as I can give y'all. All right, what do y'all think about them? Has anybody tried them? Is anybody gonna be trying them? Let me know down in the comments, and y'all behave yourselves.